what I'm saying? Yeah. The fanatic. Where we keep it 100, keep it real. That's the only way we know how to be. Talking that sports talk. You know what I'm saying? Straight out of South Carolina. Upstate, A64. Yeah. The FANATTIC. The fanatic where we keep it OG. We talking sports, so I call what
Welcome into the Fan Addict Sports Channel for sports fans by sports fans. It's your boy Coach I.
And I'm the stat guy.
Hey, we in here for another episode of the Start Bench Cut. This time we talking Oklahoma State Cowboys. We talking wide receivers. I mean, one of the schools that's had like multiple good people at that position, and we brought in somebody else so that with better knowledge than us sometimes. Okie State fan know what he's talking about. We're gonna bring him right in so he can give us his take on the Start Bench Cut. Let's bring him right on in. What's going on, Aaron?
What's happening, y'all? I'm doing good. How y'all doing?
Man, we're doing good, man.
Great.
Doing good. Tell everybody, man, a little bit about yourself and how you became an Okie State fan, man.
Man, I was born an Oklahoma State fan. My dad went to school there. I went to school there. My brother went to school there. Met my wife there, ex-wife, I should say. Both my daughters are in school there now. Bleed orange, loyal and true. So I'm a little biased, but
Aren't we all?
I try to look at things with an objective lens. So see.
That's all right, man. Sounds like
I appreciate you having me on.
Hey, man, we appreciate you taking the time out your schedule, your life to come on and chop up some football with us, man.
Glad to do it.
So let's jump right in here, man. We're gonna let the stat guy tell the people what players he gave you. We'll let you go through who you want to start, bench, cut. There's no order. You can say cut first, bench first, start first. Doesn't really matter. And then after it's over, stat guy normally gets some unique stats for us in the comparison. So go ahead and give us the guys, stat guy.
Idle. We talking Okie State. Got to be wide receivers. Mike Gundy obviously has that explosive offense out there. So for your three wide receivers, it's going to be Justin Blackman, Dez Bryant, and then James Washington. Aaron, you're on the hot seat. Who are you going to start, bench, cut?
Well, you gave me, that's a tough job. My answer is going to be, you didn't give me Rashawn Woods, man. I'm not going to talk about wide receivers at Oklahoma State without mentioning Rashawn Woods. At least going to say his name. Start, bench, cut. Those three guys, man. Three of probably the best, receivers in the Big 12.
I
when
think
you talk
so.
about production. Career-wise, James Washington is up there, stat-wise. The dude straight up, he was there 4 years, played, 52 games, I think, 226 catches. He ended up with 4,400 and some yards and 39 touchdowns. He got better every single year. He got better his sophomore year in every stat. He got better his junior year in every stat, and he got better in his senior year every stat, and he won the Blitnikoff Award. And what more can you ask from a dude like that? I mean, he was it. He was the go-to guy for Mason. He was Mike Gundy's, hey, it's third down, we're in big trouble. What do? We're gonna throw it to this, just throw it down the field to this dude who's about 5'11-ish, and he's gonna go up and get it. I don't know how do you cut that guy? I don't know. Now you go to Dez Bryant. Dude really only played 2 seasons. He played 3 games in 2009. He was suspended because, he did one of the things you don't do to the NCAA. He lied to the NCAA. The other thing you don't do to the NCAA, you don't cooperate with the NCAA. Because you know what happened to Oklahoma State basketball recently, because they fully cooperated. But he went and worked out with Dion and had dinner. I'm sure there were agents involved. I don't know the whole story, but he ended up playing 3 games that year, and then that was it. But man, in that year before, he had 17 yards a catch. He had 87 catches for 1,480 yards and 19 touchdowns, and he had 2 punt returns for touchdown. If he comes back in 2009, if he's allowed to play, who knows what he does. He's got an insane year. He probably wins the Blitnikoff. He was actually going to be a Heisman contender because of his punt return abilities. That dude, like I said, James Washington's only, maybe 5'11", Des Bryant wasn't very tall either. He might have been 6'1", 6'1.5". You know, man, you can't get that kind of production in a single season. I mean, 17 yards a catch. He had 87 catches. What I say, 1,480 yards in the season. How do I cut that guy? But Justin Blackmon. Let's be honest, that dude's. I mean, he's a different animal. If you want me to say right now, I got to cut somebody. It ain't gonna be him. I'll tell you that. I want to look at the season long. I'm probably have to cut Des Bryant. I'm gonna put James Washington on the bench, and I'm gonna start Justin Blackmon. The dude played 38 games with 253 catches, 3,500 yards, 40 touchdowns, consensus All-American. He was an All Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year. Won the Blitnikoff not once but twice. Beat Ryan Broyles out both times for that award. If you look at Big 12 records, at least Ryan Broyles has, pretty much all of them. So there's no way. You're starting Justin Blackmon, period. The guy wasn't just, he wasn't just a beast on the field. He was a beast in practice. He went hard all the time. He had personal demons that he ended up, not being able to overcome. That's unfortunate. But when you're talking about college receivers, not only is he one of the best in the Big 12, you can argue him and Ryan Broyles. You got to probably look at Ryan Broyles, especially his punt return ability. But Justin Blackmon's probably one of the most dominant wide receivers in college football history. Top 10 receiver all time. You could argue maybe 5 or 6. I don't know. He's up there. The guy was that good, and there's no question that I'm starting Justin Blackmon, period.
I was thinking that I initially when Jeff told me the guys, I was like, I'm starting Justin Blackmon. But honestly, I had forgot that he won 2 Blitnikoffs. I knew he won.
Yeah.
I knew he won one. And I figured the question would be, who do you bench and who do you cut? So that guy.
Yeah, that's tough, man, because Des Bryant's one of my all-time favorite players.
Yeah.
You can throw the ball to that guy. He was fiery. He had everything you want in a player. Some people don't like some of the things. He would get too fired up or whatnot, but that's just the competitive nature. But all 3 of those guys, man, you got to double cover. You're having to game plan for those guys, period. That's a tough decision. But like I said, Rashawn Woods isn't even on that list, man. And he's basically, to me, he's like the Jerry Rice of college receiver. The dude just did everything. And for me, he kind of got it started at Oklahoma State, and he had 2 brothers that followed in footsteps. But, Justin Blackmon's 13th all-time single season yards, tied for 10th and 24th all-time in the NCAA for single season touchdowns. Woods, I think, was like 31st on that list. 16th all-time career receiving touchdowns, 3 seasons. Woods is 9th on that list. James Washington, 7th all-time in receiving yards and 17th in career touchdowns, right ahead receiving yards, right ahead of Woods. So you got, all 4 of those guys were great producers, but Justin Blackmon, period, was just a guy. You start that guy all day, every day. That's my opinion. Of course, a lot of people might want to argue, but.
So Okie State fans, y'all watch this video, get down in the comments and tell us if you agree with Aaron or not, man. Stat guy, what you got for us?
So for me,
that was a lot of people going to argue with me.
that was the separator for me. Justin Blackmon is one of 2 men to ever win 2 Blitnikoffs. The other being Michael Crabtree, another Big 12 guy. And so, the back-to-back Blitnikoffs, what he did and only doing it in 3 years, he had to be the guy. Really, the thing for me was kind of the what if of Des. He played the 2 full years. His sophomore year was unreal, and then gets suspended 3 games into his junior season. And I really think it was just more the hype and the what if of the stats he could have put. But going off of what they did, yeah, Des is the guy you got to cut, unfortunately. But what a great world to be in that you're cutting college Des Bryant, right? There's probably only about 4 or 5 schools in the country that would say, yeah, no, you cut him easy. Any other college is going to be like, yeah, we'll take 2.5 years of Des Bryant production right now, please and thank you. But no, I agree, spot on with you. Definitely interested to see where some of the comments lie. And yeah, I didn't put Woods on there. I like the what if version of Des Bryant to make people think a little bit, because obviously that cat was a dog.
Yeah, and my question for you,
Oh.
Aaron, is who would you say had the better quarterback of the three?
That's tough. I mean, you got Mason Rudolph, and you got Brandon Whedon. I would say Brandon Whedon was probably the better college quarterback. I mean, dude played pro baseball. He came in, he was mature. He should have been, a lot of people argue about this too. And I still say this today, he should have been playing long before he did. But I mean, Brandon Whedon was legit.
Yeah,
so,
I agree because Mason Rudolph we from South Carolina, so Mason Rudolph, he a South Carolina boy. But I'm with you, Brandon Whedon, he was doing the thing. We got a little connection. I'm a Georgia alum, so we got Todd Monken, and Todd Monken was out there with Brandon Whedon. So
I love Todd Monken. You gotta love Todd Monken, man.
Gotta love it, man.
He's great. People don't even think about this, but Oklahoma State had the freak. We had Tyreek Hill. We didn't know how to use him. You put him in the spots. That dude's probably on this list as well, but that's unfortunate. But that's not the case. He's made up for it enough in the NFL. But
true that. So I got a follow-up question for you. With all the success Gundy has had, this is not even due to just the wide receiver. What is it going to take for him to get over the hump and at least play for a championship?
Man, I think they're getting there. When I look at a good team, you look at what Mike Gundy's done, and I've been a big critic of Mike Gundy. I love the guy. He was my hero growing up. Think about it, man. This guy was handing the ball off. You got a pro set. You go this way to Barry Sanders, this way to Thurman Thomas, you throw the ball to Hartley Dykes. I mean, dude, and that's Mike Gundy. He wasn't afraid of anybody. He's a lot more conservative now, but what Mike Gundy's done at Oklahoma State, and this is how I judge a program, is Oklahoma State's always had some really, some of the best players in the country at one position or another. What they haven't had is the depth at the bottom. The number ones can compete, but you look at an Alabama, for instance, number ones, number twos, number threes, those guys can play anywhere. Oklahoma State hasn't always had number twos or number threes that, are legit D1 players, and the depth at the number twos and the number threes, that quality has come up year after year after year after year. So they've got guys, and in order to be able to compete, you got to have that kind of depth. Some guys don't pan out, guys get hurt. You got to be able to make it a whole season. Look how many games that they've averaged winning a year under Mike Gundy. They're right there, and I think they're going to be right there for a while. I think they're going to be in contention. OU and Texas lead the league. Oklahoma State and Baylor are going to be the big dog of the league, right? And Oklahoma State's going to have a good season. They lost a lot on defense, but there's as stacked at the wide receiver position as they've ever been. You lose guys, but you're going to have two guys named Presley, and the freshman, I'm telling you, watch out, dude. I've never seen a kid like this. He's little, but man, the dude is amazing. It's going to be fun to watch. They'll be a fun team to watch, and I think they'll contend for the Big 12 and chance to play in the playoffs. But there's a lot of football to play. We're not even close to September 1st, I think, first game. So we'll see. But Mike Gundy's done a great job, man. One thing you can't argue is that he's done a better job probably than anybody of evaluating talent. He doesn't get 5-star guys.
True.
Nobody's just coming to Oklahoma State, right? They got to go and find the guys that they got to make something out of, and he's done a great job of that.
I definitely agree, man. And you hit the nail on the head, and I think a lot of people miss that to be elite, you have to have depth. It doesn't matter like if your starting running back is good or your starting defensive end is good, because they don't play every single snap on their side of the ball. Like, you have to have depth to compete. And you're right.
Yeah.
Oklahoma State hasn't had that kind of depth. The elite teams keep that kind of depth, but I'm high on Oklahoma State, especially this year. I like Mike Gundy. He's an entertaining guy. Plus, like you say, he's a consistent coach. So it's like I don't ever like I'd be surprised in a year, regardless of what year it is. Like if Gundy only goes like wins 5 games or 6 games, you know what I'm saying? It's like I expect Oklahoma State to contend, and honestly, this year I think they will be back in the Big 12 championship to play Baylor. To be honest with you, I mean that's no shade to Texas, Oklahoma. I just think right now they're better. So that guy.
Oh no, Texas is back.
Oh,
Texas is going to be back.
Stop it!
So, and I got one quick question. You being in the area, obviously going to school there. How often do they play? I'm a man. Interview. How often does that get played up down there? We love it. We love it out here on the East Coast. But do they ever play it down there? Do you only see it about once or twice a year?
Dude, I've seen it so many times. Look, my name's Aaron, man. I get Ron, Key and Peele. I get it every day. You know, Mike Gundy probably does. I've heard enough of it. I'll tell you that. I'd rather hear that every day than anything, Boomer Sooner or whatever. But,
Hey, man, we love it out here. Mike Gundy is definitely, between me and Jeff, Mike Gundy is one of our favorites, man. And that's like probably, if it's got to be one of the best sports interviews ever, regardless of the sport, regardless of the level.
It's up there. It's up there with the AI. You're talking about practice.
Yeah.
It's definitely up there with that.
Yeah.
But it was a good interview, and the point he made was good. And that's we respect Mike Gundy. I give Isaiah a hard time. I said Mike Gundy is Mark Rick. I hope I'm wrong about that. I really like him, but I think he's a 10-win guy that's just not going to get over the hump. And I do hope I'm wrong about that, because what he's done in Stillwater's been nothing short of amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I love to hate Mike Gundy sometimes. It's a love-hate relationship. He plays a little conservative sometimes, and I think, you play not to lose, and I get on him for that. But, you can't argue what he's done, period. He makes them competitive. They're right there every year. It's always going to be, we live in an SEC world, Alabama, Georgia, there's no question who you're going to have to contend with at some point if you want to win a championship, but you got to win your conference first.
True that.
And Oklahoma State's been getting better every year, contending, you're right there. So, I think that's going to continue to happen. But look, man, I'm a lifelong Oklahoma State fan. I've suffered a lot. I don't know if you guys watched baseball or softball this weekend, yesterday specifically.
Yeah.
But
my dogs took an L on Sunday.
Man, I had a rough weekend. I'll tell you that. We've had some ups and downs, but
one last question for you then, Aaron. With OU leaving and OU heading to the big bad SEC, could you see where the Baylor Oklahoma State game is more important than Bedlam, or will that never be the case?
Well, I mean, I'll be honest. I hate those people with the intensity of a million suns. I'm biased in every single way. I got to live with them. Like it's ridiculous, but it's going to be bigger in terms of importance probably, because it's probably going to be typically for the Big 12 championship. May end up playing OU, if they're in the SEC, if they can compete. I think Texas made a really big mistake going to the SEC. I think they're just in big trouble. You got a lot of money, but the OU and Texas haven't made the Big 12, man. You're OU, you're favored to win it every year. You damn near do win every year. Excuse my language.
Yeah.
That gets you to the championship, to the playoffs. What more do you want? You got a shot at the playoffs and the best team, probably the best team in the SEC every year at some point. What more do you want? Now you're gonna have to compete with those guys every single day just to get out of the conference. And sure, two teams probably make it there, and they'll expand the playoff. But I think in the long run, I think it'll be a mistake. It's all about money, of course.
That's it.
But,
that's it.
The mighty dollar, baby.
That's it. Because
yeah, for sure.
Because the Big Ten and the SEC lead all conferences in conference revenue. That's why.
Yeah.
That's
and I think that's going to change as things expand, as streaming changes, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know how that all is going to shake up. Look, we've got NIL deals to deal with, transfer portal issues, and and all kinds of things are going to affect, the dynamic of college athletics. But, there's going to be a lot of money there in the SEC, and that's why they're going. You're not going down in competition. So, good for them.
Yeah.
Not going to miss you. Not going to miss them.
Yeah, so we appreciate you coming on, Aaron, man. Taking some time out of your schedule, man, to join us to talk some Okie State, man. You're always welcome to come back on, talk college football, Okie State football. Whether we're doing a season preview or some Okie, we'll definitely be doing some Okie State game previews. And now that we got the contact, feel free to come on, Jeff.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you guys having me. I enjoyed it. It was fun.
Problem. Jeff, you got anything?
Nah, man, we good from my end.
All right, man. For the stat guy, Aaron, the Oklahoma State fan, Coach I, the fan addict. We out.
We got it jumping like it's that valley. I call my dogs out the pound, let's go eat. Turn on the fan addict, let's have a debate. Who really hold down the Southeast from state to state? What team hungry gonna eat everything up off they plate?